Good morning and good afternoon from where you may be calling in from. I'm Robert Kramer. I'm the Global Head of Marketing for the manufacturing industry, and welcome to our manufacturing live session on robotics process automation with Yash Malgay, who is Atos's Head of Robotic Process Automation. And you may use the Q&A function to post any questions you may have for us. We will take the time to answer these at the end of the session. Yash, the floor is yours.
Hi, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I know there are about people from 3 continentals. So let's get started. As you all know, many manufacturers are adopting newer technologies such as smart factory, including 3D printing, digital twins, Internet of Things, IoT, and robotic process automation, known as RPA, to stay ahead of their competitors. So let's see a 2-minute video on the functional areas where RPA, which is robotic process automation, is effectively used in the manufacturing world.
Manufacturing is facing new challenges. Time-intensive processes supporting the production line rely on manual processes. To stay competitive, manufacturers must optimize manual processes. Robotic process automation, RPA, streamlines the back office and operational processes within the manufacturing value chain. Manufacturers using RPA obtain up to 40% cost savings. RPA makes a real difference for manufacturers. Invoice processing and purchase order management. Invoice processing is time-consuming and painful. RPA scans, reads, and checks invoices against POs. RPA automates tasks by entering invoices into ERP, verifying orders and duplications. Bill of materials. Bill of materials is critical to manufacturing companies. RPA enhances process automation to replicate steps humans complete to generate bill of materials. Customer support management. Teams can provide quicker resolutions to customers' queries with RPA. Automating searches across systems into a single action by users brings necessary data to resolve queries. Logistics and supply chain management. RPA enables order placement with suppliers. Tracking shipped and delivered orders maintain inventory stock levels. Other areas for Atos RPA are HR services, report automation, and finance and accounting. For additional information, contact us.
All right, you just heard how RPA can be useful in the manufacturing industry. Let me show you one real example of how RPA can be applied on the shop floor. It is a simple use case, yet very powerful. It is implemented for one of our automotive customers who are into building luxury cars, SUVs. They use SAP as their main inventory management system for raw materials and parts. And every Sunday, the shop floor team would get a list of orders, mostly cars, that need to be built on the shop floor. And the shop floor team would check each order into SAP to make sure that they had all the parts, raw materials required to build the car. And this task performed by multiple teams. For example, the paint team checked for the required paint, while the engineering team checked for the engine parts. If the required parts were missing, then they would create a ticket which would be addressed by the respective group. Since this was a manual process, it would take time for each team to verify, and the team often overlooked the request, which would create various issues on the shop floor, including downtime. We then implemented a RPA robot. Let's look at a quick demo. This is a recording of the actual robot that is implemented to help support shop floor activities, demonstrating some of the automated steps. So this is a recording of the actual robot. As I was saying, the robot takes the order batch file that is in the Excel format, as you can see on the screen. This is the robot screen. All right. So robot, what it's doing is we just clicked on the button which started the robot. The first thing it's going to do is going to log in into SAP system. As you can see that it's smoothly operating with multiple screens. And the first thing it's going to do is going to run the command to load the SAP menu. And after that, what it's going to do is it's going to load the tables. It's going to get the table details, which stores all the part details and other stuff, which is going to download it to a text file, and it's going to compare to make sure that if anything is missing. If anything is missing, what it's going to do is it's going to pretty much create a ticket using ServiceNow, and it would inform the respective group to handle it. So as you can see on the screen right now, it's going through various different screens. It's loading various different tables, extracting the data, doing the comparison, and at the end, pretty much it's going to send the verification email. So that's a quick demo. So let me get back to the presentation here. So the key benefits were, the first thing is that the team used to take almost 10 to 15 resources to verify this before even batch starts it. Now that whole process is automated. On top of that, they can do more batches at the same time. In the past, they used to do just one batch. Now they can go up to 20 batches. So there are a lot of key benefits they got up out of this using a simple robot. We heard about what RPA can do in the manufacturing world. We also saw a quick example of how RPA can be applied on the shop floor. Now let's talk about how what is RPA, and let's understand a little bit more about RPA. So RPA, robotic process automation, is reforming process of efficiency and productivity. Many manufacturing companies, transportations, logistic companies are implementing to improve efficiency and reduce the cost. RPA can automate any rule-based processes. Pretty much you can show RPA bot what to do once, then let it do the work without taking any holiday. So as you saw in earlier example, that right, we asked robot to go ahead and do the cross verifications of the data in various different systems. It was able to do that. RPA dramatically reduces the operating cost by executing high volume repetitive tasks with zero errors. RPA bots can learn and also can be cloned. For example, if the demand goes up, I can dynamically create more robots or instances of robots. So that's what I meant when I said RPA robots can be cloned. RPA robots are non-disruptive, non-invasive, and easy to implement. RPA bots can be looked upon as nothing but a digital workforce. There are some of the key benefits. Robots have better accuracy. They follow rules. They never get tired, and they never make any mistakes. Robots helps with improved compliance. For example, once instructed, robots execute reliably, reducing the risk. RPA robots allows fast scalings and as well as scale. The scale which I kind of mentioned it about, you can clone the robots. So, however, there is one myth about RPA. The myth is that the robots will replace humans, and this is absolutely untrue. Let me repeat that. Robots will not replace humans. In fact, it helps to free up some capacity so that we can use that capacity to focus on the core activities, but it is not going to replace humans. Let me take a quick analogy here. A few decades ago, carpenters were building homes with the hand saws, and they had to cut wood with precision. Then the electric saws were invented. Do you still need carpenters? Of course we do, right? And did technology help the carpenters perform better? Of course it did. So it's about putting the superior tools into the hands of operators. So RPA is a similar concept. RPA implementations are quick, and in less than 4 to 10 weeks, we can literally deploy a bot in production. And because of this, it can come handy in emergency situations such as COVID-19. So the recent McKinsey study indicates that in long term, about 60% of all occupations have at least 30% technically automatable activities. What it means is that there are a lot of automation opportunities within manufacturing organization. About 37% companies use RP to increase their efficiency, and about 27% companies are using it for cost-saving purposes. The bottom line is RPA can be used for tactical needs such as COVID-19, and also can be used for strategic needs such as making everyday business easier, faster, and more reliable. The implementation of RPA helps to strengthen the supply chain procedure. In fact, I do have a slide to show you how, and as well as account receivables, payables, and general ledger operations. We can pretty much take humans out of the loop on certain processes. RPA is so versatile that it can be applied to any business functions. Among all of the business units, finance and accounting has a slightly higher adoption rate. That's mainly because they do have, they do deal with a lot of spreadsheets and also have swivel chair processes and repetitive tasks. This slide shows a heat map of the manufacturing processes that can be automated in terms of complexity and the business value it produces. As you can see, there are many low-hanging fruits that can be quickly addressed in less than 3 months or so. Some of them are invoice processing, purchase order processing, sales order processing, account processes such as billing, ER reconciliations. These are very standard use cases and can be easily be applied to many companies. Next generation RPA is intelligent RPA. This is where we use AI ML solutions. This is typically applied to a complex processes where we need the artificial intelligence and self-learning technology. Some of the examples are demand forecasting, warranty claim, processing, dealer management, and etc. The bottom line is there are many possibilities. This is not a complete list. This is just a subset and presented to give you some ideas on what's possible using RPA. This slide is an extension to the previous slide. The manufacturing industry has been early adopters of robotics for a long time. They are mostly industrial robots. I call them as a hardware robots. Now they have started adopting RPA, which is simply a software robots to their back-end, front-end, and shop floor processes, as you saw one of the examples related to shop floor. As I said earlier, RPA is so versatile that it can be applied to any business functions. Here is a list of the use case categories and functions with the key benefits of RPA. For example, if you look at finance and accounting use cases may achieve 50% faster processing and primarily automating swivel chair processes, as I was saying earlier. Another example you see on the screen is the service and the warranty recall, where 200% productivity improvement can be achieved. The popular use case in this area is automatic invoice or purchase order processing, and also no-touch warranty claims. Similarly, there are additional use cases listed under inventory and parts and customer experience. This is just a tip of iceberg. Now let's look at supply chain processes using supply chain operations reference model known as SCORE elements. The SCORE model is described as the most promising model for supply chain strategic decision making. So if you look at SCORE, SCORE helps companies to understand how 5 steps repeat over and over between suppliers, companies, and the customer. These 5 steps are plan, source, manufacture, deliver, and the aftermarket. And each step is a link in the supply chain, and that is critical to getting a product successfully along each level. Of course, we're not going to get into the details of SCORE, but what we have done here is we have identified RPA opportunities within these 5 SCORE steps. For example, the plan step includes demand and supply planning and management. The plan also includes determining business rules to improve and measure supply chain efficiency. These business rules span across inventory, transportations, assets, and various other areas. RPA can help with sales forecasting, demand planning, sales and operation reconciliations. The slide lists the potential RP use cases listed in each step of the supply chain. There are about total 23 use cases listed here. As I said earlier, that RP is so versatile that it can be applied to any business functions or unit. We have helped various customers, various manufacturing companies with bill of material, purchase order and invoice processing, various tasks in accounting, including reconciliations, logistic and supply chain, as you saw earlier, and demand and supply planning. On the screen, the orange area indicates the business functions where RPA can be applied. The outer blue circle indicates that the actual use cases that are implemented for our customers. And we do have a demos for each and every use case listed here. However, due to the time constraint, we will not be going over those. But if anybody is interested in any particular use case, please let us know. We're happy to show it to you. And also, as you know, that many manufacturers do have ERP such as SAP. And SAP systems have many processes that are labor intensive. And those types of processes are natural candidates for RPA automation. We have included some of the SAP use cases on the slide. And as I said, that we have demos for them. So being said that, this concludes my presentation. Now I'm ready to take questions.
So, hey, Yash, thank you so much for your session, and very thorough. We're very much appreciative. So now let's look at some of the questions that we might have taken. So we do have a few. Can you tell us, this is the first question, what is the typical implementation time frame when we're automating a core manufacturing process with RPA?
That is a very good question. Typically, robots build time is anywhere from 4 weeks to 12 weeks. Of course, it depends on the use case and its complexity. RPA bots do not require millions of dollars. Typically, it can be done in thousands and has a quicker implementation cycle. This is why I keep saying that is a typical implementation cycle is less than 3 months. And you can start realizing the ROI the moment it goes live. If the use case needs an artificial intelligence solution, which we kind of mentioned it, like AI/ML solution, then it will take a bit longer than 3 months because it involves training the model using AI/ML. So that's the typical bot cycle. But along the line, when companies decide to go big scale on the RPA, they also spend time in setting up the COEs. That takes another 2 months, but it's not required for your first robot. But if you think strategically, you will need it.
Great. So we have another question. What kind of RPA tools do you use or have experience with within Atos? Maybe something like UiPath.
So we do deal with all the industry-leading tools such as UiPath. UiPath, in fact, we have a great story with them. In fact, I would say that is we're one of the first partners. UiPath is being a European company. Atos is being a European company. We go way back. Other than UiPath, we do use Blue Prism and Automation Anywhere as well. And on top of that, we have our homegrown IP, which is called Sinbot, which is used for IT operations side.
Okay. Another question. What is the percentage of projects or a percentage of revenue that you get from an intelligent bot?
I cannot comment on the revenue side, but typically I would say that as of today, I would say 80 to 90% bots are non-intelligent in the marketplace. Intelligent bots are growing up, but it takes time to build intelligent bot. In fact, we have built quite a few AI pre-trained models. So the idea behind that is when we go to the customer, the model is kind of 50% already trained. For example, invoice processing, right? Invoices are same irrespective of the company or industry, right?
Right. Here's another one. And my company is an SAP shop. I think we do a lot of business with SAP manufacturers. Can you explain how bots are used and create an actual ROI when implementing RPA in conjunction with the SAP system?
SAP systems have many processes that are labor intensive, and those types of processes are a natural candidate for RPA. Even a simple business transaction in SAP means having to interact multiple screens. As you saw in that simple example, we went through multiple screens there too, right? So I would say that in fact you can use RPA for almost anything you do in SAP. Automating SAP processes leads to FTE savings, scalability, deployment with limited need for coding, and as well as significant reduction of processing times for typical SAP task. I think that's one of the key things. And probably the most productive gain is that RP allows integration with any other platforms or web services, which streamlines the data flow for tasks like copying and pasting the data between SAP and other applications like content migrations, data mining, and more. Some of the common examples are ECC to S/4HANA conversions, or S/4HANA manual conversions, automating handling of sales quotations, POs, purchase orders, and also intercompany postings, reconciliations, and also you can use it for improving customer experience.
That's great. We have another question that just came in. Are you aware of use cases in the government?
Yes, in fact, yes. We have been working with a couple of government-related projects. One for Texas state government, and there are a couple of them are one in Florida and a few other counties. I think one is in Indiana. Yes, the typical use cases are, well, as I said earlier, that RPA can be literally applied to any functions. What I've seen in the government space, they started using it on IT operations side, and as well as mostly on the accounting finance, where they do deal with a lot of spreadsheets and where they do have a rule-based processes. I cannot really pinpoint where I can say that is, oh, this is where everybody is using it. But what I've seen is if you are using Excel spreadsheet and you're repeating that task, that's one of the example. And another example which I can recollect, because of this COVID-19 situation, unemployment filing went up, and we got a call from one of the governors, and Atos ended up building a lot of automation on the fly, and those are I would say the use cases recently we came across.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Yash, and thank all of you for being in our live presentation about robotics process automation. The recording will remain online at Atos Tech Days webpage for your review. Please be sure to join our next manufacturing session, which is going to be digital twin, beginning right after this. Thank you, Yash. You were fantastic. Appreciate the thorough presentation.